Good now, revolutionaries, and welcome to the Rise Up Morning Show. It's March, and that's wild. It is the 3rd of March, to be specific, 2026. And you know what? Every time I say the year 2026, like for some reason now I have this innate response to want to say 2026, the year of our Lord, just because it feels more pointed. And then I always think back to how, you know, in recent years, we've changed it from being, you know, AD and BC to BCE and CE, but we still center the pivot between those two things we've around Jesus, which I just always found funny that we like did it to be more inclusive and non-secular, but it's still all about Jesus.
Is it? I thought it was
same pivot point. The number of years never changed. We just changed it from Anno Domini and before Christ to the Common Era and before the Common Era, but it's still the same pivot point. I just always found that weird.
Philosophy hour.
Wait, that
yes.
blows my... Wait, hang on a second. It's, yeah, before the Common... It's BCE and what was it again?
CE.
Yeah, CE.
When did that? I was like in high school when that happened, so it's been like 20 some years at least since it's happened.
Yeah, but no one really pays. No one used those.
No. But like, you know, every now and then it pops up, and I just always found it funny that like we went through this whole big hullabaloo to...
Yeah, God damn it, you're right.
It just don't make no sense.
Yeah, well, we're going to remove the explicit Christian reference. We're still going to center this on Jesus.
Still.
Okay, this just... Yeah, well, that happened at a time where we were changing the words for everything.
For everything. Oh, yeah,
for
we
everything.
couldn't say toilet paper anymore. Had to change it to
Wait,
bathroom tissue.
Bathroom tissue? We changed that too? God damn.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
What? Anyway,
that's the show.
Anyway,
we'll see you
that's
guys.
the show.
Your favorite blockchain.
Favorite crypto show.
Yep.
A little fun fact at the start. But morning, everybody. Hopefully everyone's good.
Yeah, given all that, Will, how you doing?
I mean, shook now.
Shook now. Well, now I've ruined your day.
Day's totally ruined. I have things to do. I'm starting it off in such a fragile mental state now that BCE and CE have been totally destabilized in my mind in terms of what they actually tried to accomplish. But no, I'm good. It was one of those days where it's like I could have just kept sleeping. You know, I slept well. Could have just kept sleeping. Oh, I really needed an extra Sunday. That's what I needed. But Matt, how you doing? Doing
good. Getting through the week. Got a tennis tournament this weekend. I'm excited for. So, ready for that. But yeah, doing well right now.
Hell yeah, dude.
So, Matt, who are you and what are you doing here?
Yes. So, my name is Matthew Wiley. For those who do not know me, I am a longtime community member and now also part of the Rise Up team, kind of working as a social media and research intern for the team, and looking forward to see what I can bring to everyone.
I really thought that I had the little like ta-da sound that Evan has on his board, but I don't. I only have that one, which didn't feel appropriate. Although maybe, but there we go. That's
okay.
That one's good.
Matt's entrance to the team.
Lovely.
I'm excited. I'm excited to have you here because one of the initial things that I had in my head as I was floating the idea of bringing you on was the fact that you've done some pretty thorough DeFi research with us over the years, and you know, most specifically around the Polygon UGC push, did some pretty epic write-ups around Katana, the new DeFi focused chain incubated by them. So I definitely want to touch on that a little bit, but I think it would be fun to kind of just start off with, you know, a little bit of backstory about why you're so interested in DeFi, because clearly you've been poking around in the weeds for a little while here.
Yeah. Honestly, it's really interesting because like when I first got into crypto, I didn't know what DeFi was or really care about it at all. I think, at least for me, what the coolest part of it is that like it it involves like crypto, but like, and it can involve crypto and coins and tokens, all this kind of stuff. But it really is just an alternative to the traditional finance system. I'm a college student right now at the University of Cincinnati, and when I'm taking my classes and they're talking about and I'm a finance major, so we're talking about like home loans and credit card loans and paying off like amortization schedules and stuff like that. The interest on all that stuff, it's like such a high percent. I mean, you can get up to the 20%, but it's typically hovering around like, like 12, 13%, all that kind of stuff. I'm like, that's weird. How do banks make so much money on that? And I think to my parents and their savings accounts that they've showed me and me setting up stuff and the yield you get on that, and through my own research that even big banks that have high yield savings accounts, it's only like 3-4% at most. And I've always wondered, okay, like where's the gap? Like, why is it so much? And as I've done my research, I'm like, there is no reason for there to be such a big gap. And I feel like DeFi tackles kind of some of that problems and brings to light and seeing using just dollars how you can get more yield through DeFi even in its early stages. So it's cool to me that you don't even need to have the risk of such a fluctuating asset like Bitcoin or Ethereum or Solana or any other altcoin. It's literally using dollars to get more out of your money. And I think that is so cool and is an opportunity that I think people, especially people my age and honestly of all ages, just don't understand, can't wrap their head around, because they kind of have a narrative around crypto that's more skeptical in nature. But the reality is it really tackles a pain point that I think most people honestly ignore and don't even realize is that big in the world.
I think, yeah, I mean, you're tapping on pretty much the exact thing that really disenfranchised me the most. And I mean, those couple percentage points really do make a huge difference. So it's nice that at least there are like some places where a little bit of that exists, but you really have to like purposely seek it out if you're trying to stay inside of like the, traditional system, I guess. What I thought was funny, Will, the other day I got a statement from Bluevine, shout out, not sponsored, which is this like kind of smaller like startup bank that we selected to use for the company when we needed a bank account. I don't think we've ever really talked about that, but that's Bluevine. Anyway, they have like a lower yield but higher yield interest plan than any other bank I've ever used for like a traditional checking account, and it's at like it's a 3% or something like that. And we've made more in interest for the company there than I've made in my entire life with USAA, and it's been less than a year. So that's sad, and and it really is indicative of a bigger problem. Matt, the only thing I would correct you on is there is one reason, and it's just corporate greed.
Yep.
You just got to protect that bottom line, baby.
Yep. They get that shareholder value. That's the one thing they teach us in school. Maximize shareholder value.
There you go, Matt. Shareholder value, not the
Congratulations,
consumer.
you have a degree.
Yep. All that money just to, glad they're teaching me well.
So really quick, just a quick note to our friends on TikTok. I've noticed, and the best invest, I think that you are the one suffering from this right now. Every now and then, you just have to kind of like close it and reload it because for some reason it jacks up the sound, and that's nothing that we can handle on our side. It's a viewer side issue because of something internal with TikTok. I don't know what it is, but usually closing it and rejoining it fixes the problem. Anyway, Matt, well, I'm excited to have you here. I want to dig into a little bit of some of your methods and stuff and how you go about finding information. Can you talk a little bit about what that process was like to start researching? Obviously, that's one of our favorite things to do, and we also like to talk about how to determine whether or not you're getting good information. So what kind of sources do you use, and what kinds of stuff do you look for if you were like just starting to want to learn about a new protocol that came onto your radar?
Yeah, so the first thing I guess I would want to do is see who, if they're brand new, see who they're backed by, but kind of looking for reputable names that have lots of money kind of already within their protocol. I think that is one of the things that you can do to see like how much they're trusted, because the more money someone has, the more someone's going to want to steal from it. And if no one's stealing from it, that means that whoever it is kind of has a good technological foundation, I guess you could say. I don't know how to describe it, but they're also clearly safe and reputable if people are parking their money there. You can do that through looking at metrics websites like DeFi Llama. That's one you guys always mention on the show. Going to kind of like the protocol themselves and seeing what they have to say there. Kind of seeing at least on Twitter or X, whatever, kind of like what people are saying about it. But also that can be a little tough just because of how many bots there are, like paid promotion. Or just looking online and seeing what the overall consensus is from, I guess, third party views. But yeah.
So, excuse me. You were talking backstage a little bit about some updates on the Katana side, and I know we've been kind of looking to get some more information about where things are over there. It's been a little quiet. I think it's kind of stands to reason that they're certainly not the only ones, but I think most protocols that were teasing the idea of a TGE, a token generation event, launching their token this year are kicking the can right now because obviously.
Market's sad.
Yeah, market's sad. It's a very bad time to launch a token. Pretty much no matter what the case is. But what's going on over there that you've seen recently? You were teasing some changes and some movement backstage.
Yeah, so Katana has been talked about a lot. I feel like in this community since it started, it's a project that started last June for those who don't know about it. And one of the great things with DeFi is that you can be incentivized heavily, I guess, kind of short term to help different protocols launch. Because at the end of the day, what really gets DeFi going is money, and these protocols need incentives or need to give you a reason to trust them and to park your money with them. In Katana, what they did is that very early on, they had these heavy incentive programs where you would park your USDC, your Ethereum, your Bitcoin, whatever asset with them, and they would give you a really high APY in terms of like the yield you're getting. Like we're talking like 40, like 50%, which is crazy. Like if you were to park your money in a bank and they're giving you 50%, I mean, that would be absolutely insane. But the thing is they
invest.
Yeah. So they gave you a few percent in your native coin yield, but also a lot of it was through, again, this token, the CAT token that Alex is talking about, that they're going to have a TGE potentially where you'd be able to sell the token because what we did get is like, I guess, the right to the token, but we weren't able to sell the token yet. And they were going to say that was going to come at the latest in this February. Keep in mind, this is last June. So this has been going on for months. However, they have kind of suffered just because of the market kind of plummeting the way it did from 10.10 and onwards. So TVL and the overall DeFi ecosystem has gone down, and Katana has suffered from that. So Alex, I don't know, I feel like that'd be something you could pull up on your end, the TVL for Katana on DeFi Llama, if you could pull that up. But they had a steady climb just because of the incentives program, but since markets have been going down, they also their TVL had gone down, which was not a good sign. And then they delayed their TGE, which was supposed to happen around February. And it's kind of interesting. You can see on the chart that it really starts to go down there. And I think that's when people were expecting the token to be able to be sold. But then I guess because of the market conditions, they delayed it, and it's supposed to be at the end of according to what they said, it's supposed to be at the end of March, like for sure this time. And I don't know if you guys can see, but on the very right, which is actually like today or like yesterday, they've had a very big spike in TVL. Yeah, you can see in the past 24 hours, they've gone up, what does that say, like 47% or something?
Yeah, from about 200 million to about 300 million. So we're actually just over 50% of a spike right there in the last, since yesterday. So some big deposit rolled in.
Yeah, and it's been all their vaults from what I was able to see. It was in some of their Ethereum vaults and their stablecoin vaults as well. They partnered. I went to their Twitter. They've partnered with OKX, which is they're a SEX, right? They're a centralized exchange.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Out of Korea.
Yeah, so that is why they delayed their TGE, is because they wanted to do partnership programs with centralized exchanges. Not entirely sure if that is healthy for them long term, how that's going to work, but I guess it provides some liquidity for them. And again, they're still giving out cat rewards, so that is supposed to be by the end of March. That is again what they said in their last update, but we'll see. And it's tough just because around all like DeFi ecosystems and just the crypto space in general, it is hard to launch a token around this time given current market conditions. So it's tough.
And in case anybody's confused by the use of the term TGE, that's and correct me if I'm wrong, but token generating event. Token generating event. It's when like a token of a project gets released and is birthed into the world, is given to people who were using it in testnet, using it before the token went live, qualified for what is called an airdrop. Yeah. And I wouldn't be surprised if they just kept kicking this can down the road, honestly.
That's the part I thought was interesting, was that, right now, the other instances that I've seen tokens getting delayed, we're kind of not getting any specifics about like when it's getting pushed to. It's just sort of this like, now's not a good time sort of vibe. And I thought it was interesting that they kicked the can, but like barely, because it's not a good look to like do that repeatedly. And it would have been better, optically speaking, to like do it once now and like say 6 months, or like we'll shoot for Q4 and then have more time to kind of figure things out. But so that kind of makes me, I don't know, either it's a really bad decision and they're going to do it again and again, or it was really just like, shit, just like this one thing. And they're not like as concerned about market conditions, because I cannot imagine that things are going to have like turned around and improved by the end of this month.
Yeah, I agree. Katana's been an interesting study, at least for me, because they're kind of the first ecosystem I've really dug into and paid attention to from like its starting point. Like I remember when they were doing the crates, like that was their very first thing, and because they were incubated by Polygon, and that's what got me so interested in a protocol like this, and kind of made me trust them early on, at least from like it's not a pure scam because they were backed by Polygon, which we all know to be one of like the biggest L2/side chains out there. But yeah, so it's been interesting to see, and kind of how I think their idea is novel, kind of what they provide for like DeFi and the innovation. It's not just another liquidity grab protocol. At least I didn't think. It's just hard when so much of their model relies on good market conditions, and when it's not, it's really just it's just unlucky and unfortunate. And I still think they're trying to hold on. I don't know how much longer they're going to be able to, given everything, but and we'll see how much, because they're trying to bring incentive models for like staking your cat and all this kind of stuff. And I think their DeFi flywheel is really innovative, how you can get yield on essentially everything you do on chain, because they have prediction markets, they have decentralized exchanges, they have leverage, they have a lot of different products they're offering. But the problem is the liquidity is just not there because the market isn't there either. So I will be curious. Some of the sentiment in their Discord and their communities, it's like you got half the people saying like, when's like the token generation event, like when's mainnet launch or whatever, like when I'm gonna be able to like sell, like this is like a scam. And other people are like, honestly, as much as it sucks, you might kind of have to keep delaying. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm curious if this OKX stuff is gonna mean anything long term, because I mean, jumping your TVL from 200 to 300 million is interesting, and I'm curious if they'll be able to sustain that, because based on their chart on DeFi Llama, it's kind of just been going down.
Their chart on DeFi Llama, and given the market timing conditions, tells me that when the TGE drops and the token gets released, everyone leaves the platform for the most part. And then what'll be interesting to watch over a bear market is, does the TVL increase. If the TVL increases on Katana, then when the bull market comes back, attention could be brought back to it, and maybe something good happens for the cat token. But it's really bad timing for all of this to happen, and it's really, really, really going to be hard for them to get a lot of use. I think in particular because Polygon's direction is really directed towards purely payments and less DeFi going forward. So it's like, how much help are they going to get from Polygon moving forward? So I think there are a lot of really good question marks to have on, like how healthy of an environment will this be? But we'll find out for sure in this bear market, because if that TVL is actually able to go upwards, then I think it's an ecosystem worth paying attention to.
Yeah, I don't know. I have a lot of feelings about it. Like, first of all, is there? I guess maybe Matt, from your perspective, is there still like a pretty aggressive alignment with Polygon as an ecosystem, or are they kind of trying to break away from the brand a little bit and be a little bit more singular? What are you seeing there?
They're trying to become more singular.
Okay.
I feel like in the previous months, they kind of talked about how, like, as time goes on, they've kind of like branched away from Polygon more, which is something they were proud of. And I think you can be proud of if you're trying to become your own entity.
Sure.
Like, talking about how they're doing things by themselves and they're getting less help from Polygon. But fortunately, when it seems like you need a lifeline, it would be nice to have that stronger relationship with Polygon.
Certainly, which kind of makes sense. I mean, because OKX has definitely been making some headlines more recently. Lately, I've been seeing them pop up a lot. So they're definitely doing stuff to try to get noticed and get some more attention. And we've heard that they're more interested in expanding into the American market. I think I don't know. I'm a little torn on the TGE thing. If we sit on this for a second. On one hand, you could make a pretty strong, compelling case that like launching in a dark and desolate feeling bear market is actually kind of the move. Because
from a PR standpoint,
yeah, right. So exactly. So you can say, you can forever then be able to say launched in the bear. Building during a bear, it sends a stronger message to people that you're less concerned about market conditions. Mac Lorden made a comment a while ago about one of the reasons that he felt really disenfranchised by the industry in general, despite feeling like the mission itself of, crypto and blockchain was really important, was that it was just so stupid that every company believes they pretty much have to like shut down and go on hiatus every time the market takes a dump because they can no longer operate. And so anything that flies in the face of that, I think, is a good thing. I understand that like you would definitely have to then contend with a less than ideal price chart. But to be very honest with you, how many times have we seen a TGE go off in the bull market and it do the exact same thing that we would warn people
anyway?
It's going to do now, right? Exactly. Like what's it going to do if we launch one right now? There's going to be a steep drop off because an airdrop's going to go out and a ton of people are going to take profits right at the drop, which for the record, I recommend, because odds are that post TGE, and as long as this is the norm, it's going to continue to be the way that it is. That price chart's going to go, and then, people are going to try to figure out, like, okay, well, where is this thing going to fall to? And then at what point would I want to potentially accumulate it? Is there a strong enough reason for me to want to add this as an investment, besides just like holding some that I was able to earn through my stable coins or whatever, and then hope for the best, which would be one method. So I don't know. Part of me thinks like, hey, listen, if you can like line up the stuff and you can like execute it and it's going to go off and you're not going to have like a technical glitch or some sort of problem, send it. Shit's not going to get any better. And I think it sends a stronger message personally, like optically, to say, you know what, market conditions be damned, we've got shit to do.
Here's the problem with it, though, is how they've set up their airdrop. And then after this, I do have to run prematurely. So I apologize, everybody. And if my screen is freezing or the audio is a little off, my internet's a little sad today. But
you're good.
The people who qualify for the Katana airdrop is anyone who was staking Polygon. And that's a lot of people. Now, granted, Katana has I don't remember the exact percentage, but it's a significant percent of their total supply being airdropped to people using it. So it's a large airdrop in terms of the percent of the total supply that's being given to people. But there's a lot of people. So, however many tokens are going to get airdropped are divided by a large number, which means you're probably going to get a smaller number. So like, if it's the event where it's like, hey, it's in the bear market, like you got a big airdrop. Oh my God, it's amazing. Like I still talk about the Jito airdrop that I got at like the very end of the bear market.
Legendary airdrop.
Bull market. It was a legendary airdrop. I got, what was it, $10,000 or $8,000 or something like that. It was great. Or 12.
And to be clear too, that's not because Will is infinitely wealthy. I put
$200 there.
Yeah, that was the amount that was going out to people who staked at all. So few people participated in that particular like round of qualifying staking that I remember seeing an account post about that airdrop specifically that said, well, I got wind that this might be a thing and I staked one soul and I just got a $9,000 airdrop. Sweet.
Yeah.
And they staked it for like 2 weeks.
Yeah. And we still talk about it, right? It was a legendary airdrop.
Exactly.
But the thing is there's so many people who qualify for the Katana airdrop. The odds of this being an airdrop that people keep talking about during and post bear market, it makes it lower. So it's like, yeah, you could have a good PR moment, but is it a flashy enough PR moment where people talk about your airdrop and they go, oh, Katana? Oh, well, I guess I'll go check it out. And then they go and check it out and use it, right? That's
a good point. I would say, my only qualifier there, if we stick with the Jito example for a second, is that a genuinely usable product launched at that point. And so post-launch, there was actually stuff happening and activity there. And then the airdrop got the attention of more people to come to a platform to then use it, which then created more sustainability. And now they are one of the few, regularly revenue generating, DeFi protocols out there with some heft behind them. So it really depends how much Katana would be able to then bring to the table post airdrop. What you really don't want is airdrop and then, okay, now what?
Yep.
Keep on
keeping on.
Yeah,
Hey.
the whole shtick is yield. So if the price goes down, you can't say the yields are super high. And that just won't attract users. So
yeah. But gentlemen, I unfortunately have to run. Work life calls me, sadly. But
gross.
Keep up the conversation, and I'm sorry, Matt, I'm gonna miss more of the DeFi talk.
You're good. Well, I'll do the market update while you're gone. Bitcoin to 200,000 is what I'm seeing. So
you heard it here first.
Yeah. All right.
It is written.
It is written, and then immediately jumps up $140,000. Oh my God! The blood moon was right. All right, guys, I'm gonna head out. See y'all.
All right. Yeah. Let it be known that Will's parting words as he leaves the show here is to confirm that, yes, what he believes in more than anything with regards to predicting the market is, in fact, the moon. Matt, I want to pivot a little bit because we're kind of talking about, the TGE here. Let's so for the comment that I saw on TikTok, we're talking about Katana right now, which is a DeFi-focused blockchain that was launched and incubated. I shouldn't say launched. It was incubated by Polygon, and now they're kind of there. They've got a number of ways that you can earn yield, not just on your stable coins, but also in their eventual token, CAT, KAT. So we were kind of just going over the, where things stand now because they've delayed their TGE a little bit. Matt, we're talking about a protocol that because, at the end of the day, one of the compelling reasons to be here is investment. We're talking about DeFi protocols. They're one of the few things kind of in general as a category that have managed to achieve some level of adoption with their actual target audience, not exclusively a speculator. That obviously exists, but not exclusively. If you're looking to invest in one, or I guess like where in your research into a DeFi protocol or a blockchain or something, where do you make the decision, or have you already kind of like had that in your head as you start? Like, yeah, I might buy this thing, or like, what would you need to see in order to be like, I'm all of a sudden I'm more interested than I was before in owning this asset, buying this token, using it or whatever.
Are we talking about like a token or asset, or like a DeFi like protocol
like,
to use?
Yeah, sure. Like if you were, digging into Jupiter, at what point would you consider buying Jupe? Or if you're looking at Aerodrome, at what point are you considering buying Aero or Morpho or Uni or anything?
Yeah, so I guess for me, it's do I have to see what the protocol company is doing, and if I believe that like their mission will drive, I guess, drive value, and in terms of like buying a token that like that could make the value appreciate for a reason that is outside of just people on TikTok or X saying because of this indicator the price is going to go up. How I got into crypto is kind of the belief that I'm going to get rich from it, or at least relative to investing in stocks, it provides greater returns. But as throughout my time in the space, I've noticed that so many people kind of just throw out like price charts and give you a reason to say that it's all going to 1 million, and then it never does. So when I look to invest in a protocol or whatever, kind of seeing like, is their mission, is it actually providing value to some level? Is it providing value? Do they have, and especially if it is like a meaningful investment, like do they, like how much like money, like how many people are using it? Are they, generating revenue? Like those are kind of the questions that I ask myself. And I ask myself, okay, like my parents who are like super speculative about this stuff, like if I was to share this with them, would they turn their heads at all? People who are really speculative. So I guess taking some of my own crypto native bias aside and presenting the concept to someone non-crypto native and seeing would I be able to convince them at all, or am I really just kind of biased here looking to chase for gains? Is I feel like what I do.
That is legitimately the single most, I don't know what the word I want here is. That's like one of the best things that you can do for yourself as someone either building or looking to maintain or change conviction in an asset in this space. Like, can you take somebody who is not familiar with it or even the entire concept and explain why this matters? I don't think we pay enough attention to that idea, because at the end of the day, what are we all allegedly chasing? Mass adoption. The pie in the sky. Notoriously, I'm on the record saying, let's focus on mild interest to mild adoption to moderate interest to moderate adoption before we even let the masses enter the conversation, because we're at like moderate awareness right now, I would say. And most of that awareness is bad. There was a talk at ETH Denver at the MetaMask party where Francesco, who works at MetaMask, was interviewing or kind of fireside chatting with Tomasz, who's the co-executive director at the Ethereum Foundation. And it was really interesting. They talked about a whole bunch of stuff, but there was this one like little blip at the end of their conversation that I wanted to see get more attention, but I was really excited to see someone like Tomasz bring it up on stage. It was just like, hey, we have this optics problem. It's really bad. Lots more people are aware of crypto existing, and most of them think poorly of it. And if you are objective about it, you cannot blame them in any way, shape, or form. The loud story being most aggressively broadcast is bad. And there's nothing appealing in it for your everyday person. Exactly what you were describing, Matt, what brought you here, what makes you interested in DeFi. None of that is the stuff that's getting talked about. So for me, that was my favorite question I've ever been asked on any podcast was, how do you start a conversation with someone who is not familiar with, or maybe is familiar and upset about any of this kind of stuff? So have you ever had one of those conversations specifically? And like, how do you start it? How did it go? Did you make any mistakes the first couple times? Like, how has that process evolved for you over time?
Yep. I've had a few instances of that, and it is really interesting being a college student, just trying to engage, like get sentiment from my friends, especially my finance friends, like classes about stocks, because all that's about like chasing returns, and some of them had like the same mindset I have in it. But it was really interesting. Kind of around a month ago, I had a meeting with these two guys. It was me and my friend. We had to get to know this new person in my business fraternity I'm in. And it was funny because we started talking about like investing and stuff. And my friend I was with talked about like like he was asking like all this stuff we were invested in, and then he mentioned crypto, and then he, of course, first thing he brought up was XRP and like how it's like price went like up and down, and then he's just like, yeah, I don't think I could ever get into, or he said it was like dad bought some for him and his brother, but after seeing the chart, he's like, I don't know if I could ever get into crypto. It's too volatile. And asking if I know anything about crypto, I was like, oh, do I know anything? And it really is hard because it's when I talk to my friends about the work I'm doing with you guys, just I don't immediately jump and say, oh, I'm like working with a crypto podcast. I went to Dubai over my winter break for a study abroad, and kind of every question I ask is, we met with some bankers, we met with some tech founders. I would talk about blockchain is kind of the big thing that I would talk about, and all my friends are like, whoa, like what even is blockchain? Kind of just attacking it from a perspective that isn't even crypto. I just think the word crypto has such a either negative reputation or like massive gains, massive losses is just the word. So attacking it from a lens that is whether it's just be blockchain, I mean, I guess you could say Web3, but I talk about it as an alternative. And at least in DeFi, like the way I talk about with my friends and I've talked about with my dad a lot, is an alternative to savings accounts, alternative to like your traditional like credit card. And I found when I've made videos and posted on TikTok for the Polygon UGC campaign and stuff, the videos that got the most traction for me were where I was comparing it to like banks. Kind of, yeah. So like how I get the most success talking about it is comparing it to like what the solution is it's trying to solve, showing the real value, not just like token, not just price go up, talking about how it is dollars that I'm talking about. Like this is the same thing as like your Venmo. This is like it, but just a different font, I guess you could say, and trying to relate it most to the real world stuff that everyone uses. Because fortunately, crypto has the stigma that it does, and I don't really know if that's ever going to go away. But just looking at it from a different lens, I would say, is how I've had the most success talking to friends. If I eventually slip up and do say like crypto or whatever, like, oh, okay, like it's just like crypto, all this. And a lot of the DeFi stuff does involve like Ethereum. Honestly, there's more Ethereum than there is stable coins locked in DeFi, certainly. I'm pretty sure. So you eventually do kind of have to have that talk about how like collateral lots of times is like crypto tokens, but which can kind of raise heads. But putting at it from, I'd say, talking about like stable coins and dollars on chain and how you can earn more than just regular banks is how I've had the most success talking about crypto.
Yeah, the bank conversation is always where I start, because pretty much everybody can universally, commiserate with and relate to a disenfranchising moment with a bank. Whether a balance got frozen, whether a transfer took forever, whether you got hit with predatory overdraft fees or maintenance fees, whether you had some sort of arbitrary minimum balance you had to hit, whether you couldn't access something, whether customer service was, terrible and it cost you time and money, whether you needed to get extra permission to do something with your money, whether you were denied permission to do something with your money, that, anything else under the sun, my famous 17-cent interest story. There are so many reasons that you could have had a bad time. And so it's just interesting to talk about like an industry that is meant to disrupt that. I think I don't know. I think that honestly, maybe this is a hot take, but part of a good healthy amount of skepticism needs to remain with all of this. At the end of the day, we're talking about, an iteration of money and the internet. And in no way, shape, or form would anybody, including a diehard advocate of the internet or your ultimate capitalist, or someone on the opposite end, someone who is a complete, like anti-technology, rejects the idea of the internet, or, is, upset about the concept of money, would ever sit there and tell you that every single piece of it is good or every single piece of it is bad. A world exists wherein one of the things that happens on the internet is a GoFundMe to help someone struggling with medical debt recover, and everyone can crowdsource a few bucks and like save someone's life. That can happen on the internet in the exact same way that 4chan exists. or some awful, hateful, spiteful vitriol gets spread through some sort of nefarious mean on the internet. Like both of those things can be true at the same time. Same thing with money. Money can be raised for charity, and money can also be raised to fund awful, horrible things, death and destruction. So crypto is the same thing. It's silly to put it in a box and say, like it has to be all good or it has to be all bad. I have found the most success in pretty much just being like, hey, look, if you hate it, we probably agree on actually most stuff. I'm just going to tell you about the few things that I think are the exception and why I think that. And, let's see where we can get to. And a disenfranchising experience with a bank is always the best way to start. And perhaps the farthest anyone really ever needs to take it is a better Venmo where you can earn good interest on money that is much harder to take away from you. And honestly, dude, like if that's as far as you want to take it, I think you're doing just fine. I don't think you don't have to make this your whole personality. It doesn't have to be the only thing you ever talk about. You can have other interests. You can invest in other stuff. Believe it or not, you can invest in the stock market and in, a few cryptos that you think might have some legitimacy at the same time. What do I always say? If you're upset about meme coins, I always just say, Vegas existing and slot machines being in the airport don't make my Roth IRA any less impactful for me. They are completely separate.
Yep. And even as someone like who obviously it's talking about DeFi and stuff, thinks it's great. I mean, not all DeFi is perfect. Like there is some protocols that it's essentially like max extraction for their own good, and you kind of get scammed out of it. And there's still like risks involved, like smart contract risk. I mean, even like yesterday in the community, Robot Steckler is talking about how he got his soul taken from him just because he signed one bad transaction. And it's kind of stuff like that where we're still early on, that there are risks and half the things you have to be educated about if you're want to, I guess, get the rewards of DeFi. Like there is no free lunch or whatever. Like there is risk that is involved, but I still think the concept of it is great, and I think we'll be able to take some of those pain points away where it becomes more user friendly, and we'll be able to reap the benefits one day, is what I believe.
This is just me being nosy at this point. So you're in school. I too was once in school. And the conversation really didn't exist. I mean, at the point that I was in undergrad, Bitcoin had just been created. And so, awareness of it was almost non-existent. At the same time, then by the time I was a senior, the conversation was pretty much just a little bit of Silk Road whispers. But there was never really the opportunity to have a full-blown discourse amongst all of my peers about this. For you, that is not the case. What's more common, that someone hasn't heard of it, or they have a negative opinion, or what are some of what are the things you've heard from other people either in your program or adjacent to you, friends, not friends, people you've just overheard? What's the pulse of crypto, DeFi, blockchain, et cetera, all of it, at the university level there?
The pulse is still really mellow. There's
interesting.
Not many people talk about it. When kind of they do, my ears perk up, because I'm it's not really talked about in class at all. I mean, you'll hear Bitcoin in some investing class as a potential asset class, there's crypto, but no one really talks about it or any of its use cases. And when I was talking about how when I went on my study abroad and was talking about blockchain, I mean, I had so many people come up to me what is blockchain? What does that even mean? No one knows. And when it does get brought up, it's very much negative sentiment, not even negative, but necessarily just that it's either price go up, price go down, just super gains, super losses, that is kind of the sentiment. And if I do talk about it, people don't really know anything outside of that. It is just a thing. And it was interesting because in one of my finance classes, we had some sort of financial advisor come in, a speaker, and talking about what to do with your money and stuff like that. and like he was talking about like, you want to set like a large portion and park it in a high yield savings account. And I asked him, I was like out of curiosity, what is considered like a high yield savings account to you? And he's like, oh yeah, from like 3 to like 3.5%. And it took like everything within me just to like sit there and be like, oh yep, perfect. Yeah, that is the high yield that I would love to have. And like no one knows otherwise. And everyone's kind of sitting there like, yep, like that's all people know. And a lot of people, I mean, within my program, like finance, that's where we're going to get the people that are heavy into investing. And if would know something, it would be them. But there's so many people around me, especially like in college, that still don't really focus on saving. A lot of people don't have the funds to save. And the people that do kind of just, it's about like having fun. And, I'm 21. So, I mean, that's kind of what people are focused on. A lot of my friends like, oh yeah, like I should probably like save, I should probably invest, but it is an afterthought for most people that I'm around.
I just think that's so interesting. Evan, I'm not sure if you're waiting for something or if you're ready, but I'm bringing you up now. There he is. That's the sound I was looking for earlier when I was
know, man. I know.
I
really like the chimes you used in substitution, though. I thought it was a real nice touch.
Yeah, I think I'm going to put that down as being Matt's official entrance sound now when he walks in the room.
Yeah, we'll have to see if we can, get some magic going. It's been a good conversation so far. It sounds like I caught the beginning and I caught the end. So,
well, I don't know if you caught the very, very beginning where
I caught the tail end of the very beginning. All I saw was Will saying that was you said something about like that was a weirdly Christian, and then Will was like, now my whole life has changed or something. What dude, happened?
It was.
I'll listen back to it.
No, it was wild. It's not going to be on the recording. I started TikTok and was like bringing Will and Matt in, and we'd been live for like 15 seconds, and TikTok sent me a full page warning that was like, gifting disabled, restricted because, and the reason was monotonous and like lacking direction and engagement. And I was like, bitch, I'm going to work really hard not to take that as a dig.
Wow. I can't believe they said that to you.
So weird. Less than 60 seconds we've been live, and so we just started over, but I'm like, I don't know, man. That was very odd. Anyway, it's good to see you. How are the cats?
Cats are good. They're safe and sound, and at the clinic there are about 12 dogs waiting to go inside, so we just hung back by the truck for a minute while they barked it out, and then got them in. We'll get them out. It'll be good. It's the 4th in, I don't know, as many months to get the chops, so doing our part. Don't let me derail the conversation, though, because I think there's a lot of stuff to talk about. When I came in, actually, Steckler, who you mentioned, Matthew, was in the comments. Did you guys hear his story about what happened yesterday? I don't think he was talking about it in the comments, and I think it's good to educate people about this. This is a really good scam prevention story.
Hit it.
Okay. I can't pull up my TikTok while I'm on TikTok, so I just have to summarize it for you. He was navigating the on-chain world, and he wanted to do something on Jito, right, Steckler? He wanted to do something on Jito, maybe restake or check on some restaked SOL. And he went there by Googling it. He Googled Jito. I don't know exactly if he Googled Jito network, but he told me that the first link that came up was the link he clicked. It appeared to be legitimate. It brought him to a website that prompted him, like Jito usually would, to check things out, connect your wallet. And when he clicked the connect wallet widget, the wallet that popped up asked him, import your seed phrase or create a new wallet. Like it was the first time he had accessed it. And this didn't set off any alarm bells because, and if anybody on here is a crypto user, sometimes you gotta load it in again. That is an acceptable time to use your seed phrase. Mm-hmm. And when he loaded his seed phrase into this wallet to like load it up, connect the wallet, it was like a dead website. And that's when he said the hairs on my arms went up. And he went back to check the link. And it was, I think he said Jito Foundation or maybe Jito Network, because that's their handle, but like a W and an O were switched. So it was just slightly off. And immediately he said he got onto his wallet from another device. He started moving stuff off. He had recently bought some Uniswap there. That was more than he would have liked to have lost. He had Jito Sol there and some Solana investments too. He was able to get everything, I think, except the Jito Sol, but he told me he was able to avoid a 5-digit loss. Can you imagine the sweat? It's like mission impossible. You're going back and forth. And now he's just,
man.
that wallet is toast.
Yeah.
It's a good reminder to one, always check links against another source. Go to Twitter. They have their link there. Go to Google. That's fine. Go to GPT and go to CoinGecko. I mean, there are lots of different places you can go down the crypto toolkit. Come to the Rums community. Ask somebody, hey, even if you think you should know, better to ask than to be sorry, and better to check the link twice, 3 times. And when in doubt, just don't do it. But it goes to show you that even somebody who's experienced, if your guard is down and you're not thinking you're about to get scammed, that's when they get you.
Yeah, and actually, I want to highlight a comment from Julian here on TikTok. So it says, "Good morning. Is an OKX wallet safe? Tangem moderator asked to download for a transfer recovery." There's a couple thoughts there. My first thought is that I'm immediately sketched out by that situation.
Big time.
I would put a pause for sure. I definitely need more information before I could tell you one way or the other. But being asked to download something specifically for a transfer from a moderator sounds several flavors of sketchy. I would personally not do that. In a vacuum, the specific things mentioned there, Tangem is a legitimate product. OKX is a legitimate business with a legitimate product. By itself, I'm sure that OKX's wallet is not, to be concerned about, or that, it's not impossible that Tangem customer support could ask for something, but I would need more context. I would stop whatever you're doing personally.
The next
I'm
step
very
you should
sketched out
take
by
is
that. Yeah.
send a message to support. Their official email is support@tangem.com. Forward that email to them, or that communication.
Take some screenshot.
Exactly. And ask them, is this you? Usually if somebody has contacted you first, that's a sign of a scam. If somebody is guiding you through something,
it's a moderator on Discord. Potentially, if it's like an official server and that is like a legitimately elevated moderator, then that's one thing. I still wouldn't personally, even in that scenario. But the fact that it's happening in a Discord server also gives me pause. I would stop. I would pull out of, not, you don't have to leave the server, but I would stop that and I would contact legitimate customer support. That sounds like a scam setup to me personally.
Julian, are you in the community, the Rums community? If not, or if you're listening and this sounds like something that may be happening to you, or you just want a second opinion, you should head over to community.rumshq.com. Send us a message in any channel, remind us it's you, and then you can share more details about the experience than you can in a social media comment, and you won't be watched by all the bots and Alex impersonators who are going to DM you after the live because they know you're looking for help. Get there. community.rumshq.com. We'll figure this out.
Yeah, Sivish over here has a comment on YouTube that just says Tangem has official channels to get to customer support. Wouldn't do anything on Discord or Telegram. I would have to agree. Yeah, happy to take a look at screenshots. Julian, if you have any to share, feel free to post them in the general chat. I think that it would be an educational learning experience for everybody over there. And just like Evan said, that's the number one mission of that community is like, hey, here's a safe place where you can get a second opinion on stuff. But no, great. I'm glad you brought that up. That's a helpful conversation to have for sure. Moral of the story is very sketched out.
Yeah, it is unfortunate. I will say kind of the friction that scammers also provide in the space. I remember when I first started getting in to crypto, I wasn't even doing anything really wallet wise. It was kind of just buying tokens and stuff. And TikTok, I remember following, Alex and Evan and a bunch of, I guess, other accounts. There's probably 4 or 5 creators. And then all of a sudden, I have 300 followers and there are 50 Evans, 75 Alexes and all this stuff, which is unfortunate. And it's even my My dad texted me literally a few days ago because he's followed the Rum's Instagram, and there's impersonators over there. He's like, "Why did the Rise Up Morning Show request to follow me?" And I was just like, "I don't think that's actually them." And then he was like, "Oh my gosh, like that's silly me for not realizing." But it's a real thing, and it's unfortunate, and I don't really know if there's anything you can do to stop it. I don't know why it plagues crypto, and I guess because there's
Money.
money involved, but it's just, I wish you could make it all go away.
I want to address this comment from Captain Thaddeus, who says, why won't TikTok do anything about the scammers? I know you answered it in the comments, Alex, but whether you're on Facebook or YouTube, you might be on Twitch, you're going to see these everywhere you go. And the answer is partially because they're not financially incentivized to stop them. But the problem that they would have to stop is they have a hard time telling, even though they can like monitor users and track activity, bot farmers are sophisticated. They have a hard time telling who is a sincere, true user and who is a bot. They see that Coach JV video where there's text on the screen that says, your wallet is not safe, download a Web3 wallet today. And they still somehow recommend it to my algorithm because other users are watching it and liking it. They're relying on you to be able to tell the difference. And since you engage with it as if it's real, they amplify it. That's why sometimes you see AI slop videos too. I see this video all the time of this like older, ambiguously Asian dude who's ripped talking about Tai Chi. And it's totally AI. Like, I don't know how much they spent on ads, but you know what I mean? So they can't tell. And there's no financial incentive for them to do it because it generates activity. It makes you watch. So unless and until that changes, they're not going to solve the problem. Crypto could fix this. There are crypto companies working on fixing it, but
there are several very simple to implement steps that any platform could take relatively easily with relatively low lift to really curb the problem. And the fact that they haven't done that just tells me that there is at best, negligent attitude towards this kind of stuff because there is a financial incentive to keep more active accounts on the platform to juice numbers. That's more accounts to intake an ad, which means that TikTok, the platform, or Instagram, the platform, can charge more for ad spend on their platform because more users are there to watch it. There is literally no business reason for them to do it because we're all going to still stay there. They know they've gotten it to the point where, you're not going anywhere else. You're going to keep using social media regardless. The only thing you can really do is just like be vigilant, be really skeptical, and question everything. It's about as good as it gets. I mean, dude, like comment filters, just like flagging another account with the same profile picture that pops up, really similar username should at least get, queried, or just implement a rigorous KYC process for creators to go through, which would then put them in the category to easily report and remove. I've reported, 200 or 300 over the years impersonator accounts of me. I have never once, I'm not being hyperbolic, I have never once received a report back saying violation found. I've exclusively received no violation found every single time. So
working
reporting
on the
is pointless.
blue check. Yeah, it's terrible. And I wish there are simple things. Like, wouldn't it be great if you could mass delete comments on every platform? When you told me that blocking the scammer or impersonator didn't remove their comments from like
For
below
other
my
people.
videos, I just couldn't see. I was like, oh, come on. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
beating
literally
my
that
butt.
would be the single easiest thing ever to do is just like if I, the creator, block the user, that their comments are auto deleted from my videos. If they only did that, it would be a massive help.
Yeah. Tori said in the comments on YouTube, if only there was a way to prove who you are without giving away your whole identity. If only there was a technology to implement. If only. All
right. Perfect pivot point because Matt, I have homework for you.
Oh man, I was going to give Matthew homework too. Okay, so
you can give him homework
Give it
too.
to me.
We're giving
Give
you
it
a lot
to
of
me.
homework today.
I'll take it all on.
You go first.
Okay, so the current I've mentioned this a couple times. The current rabbit hole that I'm in is privacy. Specifically comparing privacy methodologies on blockchain, and the three that I'm focusing on are ZK, the one that everyone's heard of, FHE, and is it there's another one that I was only just very recently made aware of.
Yeah,
the other
is this
day.
from Lindsay on trust issues that she was listing off all the different types of privacy?
For the people back home, that's zero knowledge, sometimes ZKP, zero knowledge proof. It's fully homomorphic encryption, FHE. And the third one?
I believe it's HME. I believe.
HME. Maybe that's just homomorphic something encryption.
Well, hold on. I got you right here. Okay. Yeah. So, ZK, and I'll give you the TLDR on what these things are, but I'm definitely not prepared
Too many letters, Alex.
Oh, dude, strap in. This really speaks to the military in me. More acronyms, yes.
As the viewership just plummets.
Yeah,
I'm sure. No.
Okay, so it's ZK. PHE and HME are basically the same thing. They stand for different things, but they do the same thing. And then FHE is the third one. So ZK is like currently the main workhorse for blockchain privacy. FHE is like a little bit more of like a long-term kind of end game sort of thing for smart contracts, specifically confidential smart contracts. And then PHE, HME, that one, just kind of like fills some gaps. So the general consensus that I've seen amongst the cryptographers that I now follow and read from are that eventually all of these, and probably more, will be used for different things because it's not really like a one-size-fits-all. It's not a one-size-fits-all sort of thing. So ZK hides, let's see how much of this I can remember. ZK hides like inputs and witnesses. It's not like encrypting computed data. It proves something. It doesn't actually compute. Somewhere Azim is like, his ears just started burning.
He's not technical, man. He's hiding from this explanation.
The nice thing about ZK is that it is production ready. You can use it right now. It's out. It's there. It exists. There are toolkits. It's workable. PHE, this is now I'm going to have to refer to notes. PHE and HME is a data hide. It's really, really limited. It's really only usable in like extremely narrow cases right now. FHE is much more arbitrary. It's like very slow. It's only just kind of starting to emerge. It's more theoretical than implemented in practice. And it also hides data in the same way that HME, PHE does. Anyway, I have Claude has done me a solid and compiled 435 resources over 20 minutes of work the other day to build me this like gigantic multi-page explanation of all of these things with like tables and charts comparing the two and all this kind of stuff. It's very interesting. So Matt, I would put this on your radar just because my theory is that in a world where we in crypto have to constantly out-innovate shitheads trying to govern this whole thing and write rules about it without cracking a book. Congress, I'm looking at you. I think privacy is the answer. Like encrypted privacy at the data level or at the protocol level is the answer. If you're going to pigeonhole every DeFi protocol into having to implement archaic rules that shouldn't apply to those things in order to get in line with AML and KYC and counterterrorism financing laws, you're going to ruin the sanctity of what is a DeFi protocol. And there is another way. And I believe that other way is some combination of zero knowledge, HME, PHE, all of these other privacy methods.
Alex, are you going to define any of these acronyms at any point for us?
I could tell you what the words stand for, but does it really matter?
Yes, you gave us the TLDR explanation. I've been waiting the whole time for you to tell me what
you already said it.
HME is.
All right.
And now I know my ABCs.
Boys to men, ABC, DVD. That's all I can think about, you know?
Well, obviously we already know ZK stands for zero knowledge. And this is wherein we talk about snarks and squarks and quarks and all sorts of
another time.
All other kinds of arcs. Pages. HME homomorphic encryption, which is, like I said, computing on known secrets. So it's like partial to fully homomorphic encryption on a data set. And then scrolling.
TLDR LMNOP.
This would be like a really funny, really, really bad clip to make, is just like, every instance of saying an acronym in the last 10 seconds.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Steckler over here in the comments, who loves cryptography, works in it professionally, is like, okay. PHEHME.
Yeah. And then hold on. I have to find all my other ones.
Yeah, I've got HFE, fully homomorphic encryption, HME, homomorphic encryption, PHE. Is that like fat with a P, homomorphic encryption?
I'm going to choose to believe that is true, yes.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it past it with all the other fun words we have.
You know what I found out in doing all this? Have you ever heard of Zama? Z-A-M-A?
No, of course not.
Damn it.
Have you?
Of course not.
Of course not. Apparently I've also been following them on Twitter for a while, because when I went to their account, I was already there. PHE is partial homomorphic encryption. So fully.
Okay. It's like
partial.
fungible, semi-fungible, non-fungible. Okay.
Yeah. We're talking about the same thing, just different degrees of severity.
The one good thing to come out of this is definitely going to be we're getting some new analogies. I already know it.
No, for sure. Yeah.
And Matthew is going to be like the back we labor upon.
All right, Matt, did you get all that?
Yeah. Yep. No.
Okay, perfect.
I do. I actually have unironically wanted to learn more about that. Have you guys seen Vitalik's tweet on privacy? His thread that he did. I read that and thought it was really interesting, and I think is
Agreed.
Another pain point and something that has to be done. The fact that it even is possible is still like crazy to me. Like, I have such a high level knowledge of this. Like, how is it possible to like prove you're someone without like actually proving it, but you are? I don't know. So I am curious to learn more and give hopefully figure out a simpler explanation than just the alphabet in reverse questionable order. So
I'm sorry, Matt, was there something wrong with my presentation of 40 undefined acronyms?
Get a little confused there. Yeah, that's on me. Still just a college kid.
Yeah, that sounds like a you problem. I definitely did a perfect job.
Yep.
Jeff Rascal says, "Oh my God, trying to keep up." Yeah. Listen, Jeff, I only said most of the letters in the alphabet in a random order while confusing the definitions and like partially reading notes and also remembering some stuff incorrectly. I don't know what's hard to keep up with.
I am a big fan of this.
I'd like to think if my parents are listening, or if I had any friends tuning in, that they would have at least been able to somewhat follow the first half of the show. But once you got in this, they're probably like, all right, my time to tune off.
Yeah, I guess. See you later, guys. Sorry.
Sorry, guys, I ruined it for everybody. The point is that it's really interesting. And there's a really
that's like saying it's a really funny joke after you tell a joke that nobody laughs at. This is why
I can't remember it, and I said the wrong punchline, and I didn't set it up properly. But I promise it's really good. You had to be there. But no, I basically, to put a cherry on top that has no acronyms in it. My theory is that privacy and encryption and all these different methods are the way that DeFi protocols will out-innovate these archaic rules being put in place that have no business not being rewritten to fit the situation at hand the way that we have now. Things have changed. We can't use the same rule book from 30 years ago. You got to do some new stuff. So that's why I'm so interested in it. All of the things doing anything in this regard. Zama is really interesting. It's not necessarily like a crypto protocol, but it is it's one of these privacy methodologies that they're building out specifically for use with Ethereum and EVM. Super interesting. Their founder is very interesting. I've been seeing more stuff actually about Arceum. You remember that thing? So we got reached out to about potentially doing like an awareness and education campaign for Arceum, which is encrypted computation on Solana. I've been seeing their name come up a little bit more. They had a TGE coming, which I was less interested in, and they kind of punted that one a little bit. I'm not sure where they're at right now. They've been around for a while, and they're still, working on the product, so it's a pre-product thing. And then Maiden, of course, Azim has been on the show before. Very interested in what they're doing. And there's a number of different things kind of being built in this world. It's in its beginning stages. But I guess too, I mean, if you're kind of just here for like a next potentially speculative narrative, we're in the privacy days right now for sure. So
yeah, I feel like we're almost too far in it for me to be speculating on it. It's kind of how I feel about it.
But I feel like there's only been a couple horses in that race for a long time, and it's like we're overdue for the wave of new stuff to come in.
And I feel like we're in it. Like, you know what I mean? We've been staking Pol tokens, and there's an airdrop supposedly coming of Maiden tokens to Pol stakers. Though I wonder, based on what Asim has said about how thoughtful they're going to be about sharing those, I wonder if that might change. The midnight airdrop, that was the most difficult to claim, and I didn't have crap for it, even though I, have been on the Cardano network for years. Listen, I don't know.
Hard to claim, disappointing airdrops is Cardano's mission statement. Yeah, Charles wakes up every day and he's like, how can I airdrop something that sounds really impactful but make it an absolute living nightmare for everyone who tries to participate? And then when they finally succeed, I want them to be so disappointed. I'm still bitter about Sunday Swap. Matt, do you remember that one? Were you paying attention?
I don't think I was around for that.
You didn't miss anything.
Yeah, no. Yeah. What were you going to say, Matthew?
I was going to say it was interesting hearing Will earlier when he was talking about like Pol staking for like the airdrops and stuff. And while I'm sure like a lot of people are, at the same time, the incentive to stake Pol is purely for airdrops because it's not for the chart. I can promise you that. It's been
but it is down. To acquire tokens. I will say their tokenomics are interesting to me. But as I sit here in a Polygon t-shirt, I got to tell you, I'm a little worried about their future just because it's the bear market. Good and bad stuff happens. When I say worried about their future, I don't know. I think they're taking a lot of big bets. And they're putting a lot of conviction, well-informed conviction, into some pretty grand plans that there's not fierce competition for, but there are significant competitors for. And in the battle of mind share, in the battle of how quickly can we get something to market, how do we find product market fit, I think they're really ambitious. And I'm not betting against them for sure. I'm glad all those people there that were like, we know, like they're great to swing that bat. But it's like you say, Matthew, the token's having a tough time. And even though the network is widely used and by many metrics, very successful, it's a startup space. It's changing all the time. And the winners today could be gone tomorrow.
I saw a chart. It was actually it might've been yesterday. It was Polygon posted it and it was just like the amount of like USDC payments per like I don't know if it was per layer 2 or just in general across like all protocols or whatever. And like Polygon was far and away like the last, I guess like last 2 months. Like, I mean, it is crazy because with like their recent partnerships, it's like, I mean, it's going like sky high, like Base and Arbitrum, like no one has anything on them. But it's like, I don't know what that's doing for them. I know like the price of their token isn't necessarily like how successful they are as a business, but I see that and I'm like, I don't know how that helps, like gives incentives to have anyone want to stake their token. And I've seen Mark get into some like Twitter beef with some people, just random people in the comments, and they're like, essentially making comments like none of this matters, like Pol tokens like going down. And he talks about how it's like, no, like staking your Pol like is like necessary, like it's the token's like net deflationary or something like that. But I don't know why any of that matters outside of like us like staking to help the network when it's like, I don't know how the network is helping its user at all.
So, go ahead, Alex. You want to take it?
Just to say the biggest problem, this is not Polygon specific, but they're in it right now. And someone's going to have to figure out how to crack this nut because it's really, really problematic. The audience and the customer base, the TAM for a token as a purchase, hold, investment is completely different from the TAM, total addressable market, of a network's products and that potential user base. The problem with crypto networks and blockchains and ecosystems that have a token or protocols that have a token that I have identified, this is my opinion, is the separation of those two things and the trouble blending the two groups together. Polygon may have a tremendous amount of on-chain usage, and that also may not translate into a renewed amount of conviction in the investment thesis of every individual Polygon investor, because those two people are separate people. The people who are owning it so that they can use the network to execute a function that it has enabled for them is one group, and the people who just buy it and hold it and hope that it goes up is a completely different group. That group is driving the narrative for sure with regards to price of a token. That group is also very exhausted, frustrated, disenfranchised, disappointed, all of the above. If you can't convince those people that the recognition from the TAM of users matters as much as the TAM of investors, or figure out some way to bring those two groups together, I think that's ultimately like what ends up doing most of these tokens in, because it's really hard to articulate like why you would need to own a lot of it or why you would need to value it higher if you are not a user, and most investors are not users, in my opinion.
I also, I don't want to get into it now, but there are a lot of good resources, Matthew, that answer your questions about how stakers specifically benefit from the tokenomic design of the Pol token. The issuance of tokens primarily goes to stakers and validators, kind of like Bitcoin issuance goes to the people who mine it. And so the only way to get it is to participate in that or to buy it from somebody who does. And there's also there's a mechanic of supply and demand, burning and things like that related to fees and related to how the benefit of fees through use accrue to those people who are securing and validating the networks. Stake your tokens, earn rewards is the concept, but it really hinges on the activity of the network, the perceived value of the network. I think unless and until Polygon finds like its proper valuation and then is able to grow, it won't be sustainable. But I think they're making bets in the right direction. We just got to wait and see.
Yeah, I want to highlight this comment here from Sivish. The problem I have personally with staking, and Sivish, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that you could apply this to pretty much any network, is that the $500 or $1,000 from me makes less than ones of dollars over an entire year. I have a lack of funds problem to make a difference for me. And then he identifies this as being a him problem. And I would actually disagree with you. That's not a you problem. That's a problem with design. If what we're ultimately advertising to somebody, by we here, I mean this kind of like phantom blockchain group. Let's stick with Polygon as the example here. Is that what I want you to do as a consumer of my product is to own this thing and to stake it, because staking benefits the network. It makes it work harder, better, faster, stronger. It's more secure, blah, blah, all these things. I have to make that worth it to you, because I'm ultimately asking you for multiple sacrifices. I'm asking you to put money that you could do something else with into this asset. So there's opportunity cost there that you have to contend with. I'm asking you to put faith in something that is new, that is, very niche, that has yet to be proven at real scale, that still has a lot of skepticism and speculation involved. I'm asking you to, like I said, forego other opportunities. If we stick with the S&P, I'm asking you to basically not make, 8% in the S&P for a year with this. I'm asking you to trust me. I'm asking you to weather like a pretty hectic, volatile storm of price action. I'm asking you to open yourself up to being a victim of like lots of different circumstances that you have no control over, but are affected by very aggressively as a holder of token whatever. All sorts of stuff. And it's obscenely inappropriate for me, the protocol, to expect that everybody can stake $100,000 worth to make the yield that I would earn in something worth it for me, to give up all that other stuff and feel okay about it. That's not a you problem. at all. That's a money problem and a business problem and a new industry problem and a protocol level problem. All this other stuff, like all squished together. It's honestly like a pretty unfair predatory relationship, and we just sort of do it out of like faith and hope a lot of the time. So, in that sense, I would say, staking is like a public service that you embark on as a user and a supporter and a believer in a blockchain, which is another one of the many reasons I am so upset about like tax policy around the whole thing. It's insane that you can't write off an amount of money that you stake to support an ecosystem as an expense or as an investment. It's insane that you get charged taxes on the income you receive for performing that service. Like you're undertaking an expense when you like lock up capital to support a business. Like you're participating in a way that people haven't participated in business before, especially as an investor. There needs to be like all sorts of special carve outs for the way that like your money is handled in that instance. And there's not. It's just like it's really hard to do. So I mean, I really do feel for you. I'm in the same position. I stake because I believe it's my job and my duty as someone who wants to see a blockchain succeed. But at the end of the day, it's hard to stomach, especially at times like this when we don't know how long this is going to last. And I have to ask myself, like I really want to help and I want to participate and I want to qualify for this and that airdrop. And, it could turn around at any minute. But like, man, I've capital locked up here and there. It could be doing other things for me here and there. And I have to make that decision. And that's not an easy one to make.
Okay, it's about that time that we've got to start thinking about riding our dogs and ponies into the sunset. But before we do, I need to give Matthew some homework. And we need to get around to final thoughts from everybody. If you've enjoyed the show today, I got to say, we have too. It's always good. And we're going to have Matthew back again because we need an update on these assignments. We've got to hear what he's researching. If you want to get in touch with Matthew or Alex or me, then you know what to do. Head over to community.rumshq.com. What's got you chuckling?
Just
Chuckler.
giving Matt homework, and I just think it's funny.
Isn't it great? Isn't it great to have an intern? I absolutely.
I get to learn my ABCs, and then Evan's got an assignment for me too.
Yeah.
So
Okay. And this one is actually going to be less intensive. It's just a little bit of light reading. Okay. 401 minute read, The Crypto Theses of 2026 from Messari. Now, Matthew, have you read the Messari theses before?
I have not.
Okay, excellent. Messari is a crypto research organization that started out as an annual report. It has since grown to a full platform with a bunch of different newsletters or dashboards that will allow you to get insight into all kinds of data points in crypto. It's a pay-to-play thing, but the theses that they report on every year are still free forever, at least, for now. You sign up with an email, and then boom, you're in. So I would love for you to just comb through the theses that they have for 2026. I would like to know what you think about the report, if it's biased or not, what takeaways there are. And I will tell you, you can also listen to the report. They always do a podcast, and text me and I'll get you the link or whatever. I usually listen. I usually download it, skim through it, because they do have some really good charts. It says 401 minutes, but if you don't want to sit down with the whole thing, you really can parse it. Read the parts that interest you. Tell us what you agree or disagree with what you learn, and have fun with it. It's a great report, and I recommend everybody check it out. Their URL is Messari, MESSARI.io. They have some newsletters too that I occasionally read. So doable.
Oh yeah.
Great. I expect you back on the show tomorrow.
Awesome. Yep. Yeah. Hard due date. Hey, I'm used to those, so there we go.
No, man, no. Take your time.
And if you could clear up this whole encryption thing for us tomorrow morning too, that would be great.
Tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow morning. Yeah. Say if only After Dark was tonight, I'd have it by tonight. Don't you worry.
Perfect.
Okay, let's do a round of final thoughts. Alex, you've given some really good takes today, man. I've given you.
Thanks, man.
A couple of these. I appreciate it. I wish I'd been here for the whole show, but I can't wait to listen. Do you have a final thought?
Bank those dings for me for tomorrow night. I will be back later this evening. Trust Issues is finally back this week. There's a tremendous amount to cover and talk about, so we're just going to kind of try to rapid fire through a bunch of issues and get everybody caught up, and get book club back on schedule, which is The Mystery of Capital by Hernando de Soto. Matt, there's more homework if you haven't read that yet. It's a good one. It's pretty interesting. You can, that's a back burner thing. It is interesting though. The basic premise of it is like, why has capitalism worked, and worked is in air quotes, in the West when it has miserably failed in other places. And there's a lot of thoughts about it. I think it's going to be an interesting debate. I kind of disagree with a lot of the book, actually, which I think will make the conversation interesting. But anyway, so we'll be back tonight at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for trust issues with at least Emily, and I'm waiting to find out if Lindsay's joining us as well.
Okay. Matthew, what about you? Have you got a final thought?
Final thought. Let's see. Well, I really liked Alex's thought on staking. I thought that's kind of a lot of what I've been thinking. I'm like, man, this is a lot of public service versus then getting value. Final thought though is, man, there's so much misconception, misinformation. I think we need to keep educating. We need to keep learning. And yeah, the Clarity Act, I want to change it to called the Not So Clarity Act, but that's a different topic for another time.
The Muddy Act.
Yeah, man. A lot of people I see, like, I don't know, like bull posting or whatever, like, oh, once Clarity gets passed, like everything's going to the moon. I'm like, no one even knows what this is. I don't
Definitely,
know.
guys.
Whatever. But excited to come back on. Glad I got the chance to. Glad this is starting, and looking forward to future discussions and everything. So
yeah, we are big fans. You're gonna have to come home again to the show soon. Thank you for making time, brother, and enjoy your haircut. Matthew texted in the group chat he's getting a haircut, and I was looking at your wings there, and I was like, yeah, it's about time. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, it has been about time. It's been since December, since before I went to Dubai. It's long overdue.
Hey,
So,
man, Dubai.
clean yourself
Shout
up,
out to Dubai.
Yeah.
You can
Shout
tell
out
looking
to
at
UAE.
Evan and I that we're
We're
just
paragons of grooming.
clean cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go out and buy a new suit today. Okay, thank you. Give yourselves a round of applause for being the very best part of what we do. We're gonna have Matthew back, and we will be back. Trust issues tonight. More morning show tomorrow, wherever you are, whenever you listen. Say that 5 times fast, and always at community.rumshq.com. Everybody, stay safe. Be well, my friends. Rise up.